Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Niall O'Connell. We are here to ask the question if, after last night's victory, can Daniel Dubois beat Anthony Joshua, possibly on September 21st at Wembley Stadium? Niall, we'll go straight into it. A career best win for Daniel Dubois, stoppage victory over Filip Hrgović last night. We saw a stoppage victory against Jarrell Miller the time before that, but yeah, I don't want to say coming into his prime now. We're not sure where he's at with his prime. He's still a young heavyweight, but it looks like he is in prime position to face Anthony Joshua September 21st. Give us your thoughts on this fight if it were to happen, please.
I think it's a great fight. I really do. I think it has absolute firefight potential, to be honest, with the style of both men. I think it's pretty much guaranteed a knockout, which is great. And, for this fight, they headline Wembley Stadium, I think is huge for British boxing. The Saudis have done a lot of good work for boxing, but I think this one needs to headline Wembley Stadium. I really do. But yeah, I like this fight. I was just thinking earlier, I don't think the build-up would be the most entertaining, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, I think when once that bell goes, it'll be fantastic. Especially with the run with where they're both at now. Joshua seems to have that aggression back, that mean streak back in him. And Dubois is the best he's been, as you said, probably just entered his prime, but he's the most confident he's been. He's on the best run of his career, and yeah, I think it has a recipe for a really entertaining fight. So hopefully it gets made next.
Yeah, look, I think with Dubois now he's had a couple of losses, and I think arguably those losses have made him a better fighter. And I just think, look, you can't deny he kind of looked good against Filip Hrgović last night, and I feel like he's no longer a super young man. Obviously, he turned pro very young for a heavyweight as well. Obviously had that loss against Joe Joyce, which he was the favorite for. Had the loss against Usyk, which kind of we were expecting, to be honest. But no, I think he's looking good now, and I love the fact this looks like there's a good chance of it happening. Don't I with Dubois, there's no kind of mucking around. I feel like there were a few eyebrows raised when the Hrgović fight got announced. Some people asked, is this a good move for him? What happens if he loses? And he won. And it kind of shows you what can happen when you roll the dice a bit. Do you would you agree with the statement that this is the right time for Daniel Dubois to fight Anthony Joshua? Anthony Joshua, he's been a top heavyweight for a long time now, had all those world title fights, had all those stadium fights in the UK. Is this a good move for Daniel Dubois?
I think it's a perfect move for Daniel Dubois. I really do. You mentioned there we've questioned in the past, is the matchmaking from Daniel Dubois right? Putting him in with Usyk, putting him in with Filip Hrgović. But these are elite level fighters. They really are. Even if he loses these fights to say Usyk or even a Joe Joyce, he learns from it, and he's proven that he learned from it. And people question the Hrgović matchmaking, was it the right time for that? He's not a baby anymore. He's had his kind of his learning fights early on, and uh, now, like, if you're not ready now, when are you ready? To be honest with you, and as you mentioned, the kind of the reward he got from going in there with Hrgović is fantastic. He got a win. He's on the verge of this AJ fight now, and yeah, I think he's really learned. I don't know, would you use the phrase baptism by fire with who he's faced so far, and it's done him the world of good. He's come out the other end of it the best he's ever been. I think last night he looked absolutely outstanding. Like, he was losing on the cards, but the confidence he showed, and the aggression, the chin, and the kind of the eagerness to get the stoppage, I think he looked absolutely outstanding. So yeah, I think it's a perfect time for a Joshua fight. I really do. Why not? There's
Yeah.
no better time to make it.
And if you consider, look, obviously big money's on the line here, a big prize as well in terms of kind of what would happen for the winner. I also think it's a good fight for Joshua, by the way. I think I personally, it's nice to see Joshua winning again, winning by stoppage as well. It's kind of three stoppages in the row now he's on. However, I just think I just think we haven't seen that kind of victory over a top 10 heavyweight yet, in my opinion. I know kind of the name Otto Wallen might be on your mind now. I personally didn't have Otto Wallen down as kind of as a top 10 heavyweight, not a bad heavyweight, but not a top 10 heavyweight for me. Whereas Daniel Dubois, after his last couple of wins, um, is a top 10 heavyweight now. We can debate whether he's top five or not, but I think he's a genuine top 10 heavyweight, whereas Otto Wallen I wasn't as convinced. We'll go down to kind of early predictions now. What's your head telling you? Joshua would be the favorite here, but Daniel Duar's kind of full of confidence. It'd be interesting to see them kind of face off and look at kind of the size. I think Joshua kind of would be possibly be weighing more, but not by much. But yeah, what's your head telling you if this fight does go ahead on September the 21st?
As you said, Joshua will be kind of rightly the favourite, you'd have to say, but I think Daniel Dubois has every chance of beating Anthony Joshua. I really do. He's aggressive. He's very heavy-handed. You know, huge puncher. He won't be gun shy, and he's as confident as he's ever been. He's going to keep coming forward. And what he proved last night to me as well is that he has a great chin. You know, everything Hergovich threw was landing flush on the chin of Dubois, and he wasn't really putting a dent in him. He kept coming forward. I know you could say if Joshua is landing those shots, which he will, he land big shots, he probably will kind of put Dubois back on his heels a bit more than Hergovich did. But I think if Dubois gets at him, particularly early, I think he has every chance of knocking Anthony Joshua out. I really do. I'm struggling to call this one. As I said, it's a real firefight.
Yeah.
Somebody's going. But if I had to give a prediction, do you know what? I'm going to say that Daniel Dubois knocks him out. That might be kind of recency bias about last night, you know, the performance last night, talking. But I can see him knocking Joshua out. I really can. It wouldn't surprise me. Put it that way. If he knocked out Joshua, I wouldn't consider it a huge upset. I'm just really impressed with where Daniel Dubois is now, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm going Dubois KO for me, and I'm going early. Going first 5 rounds.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's a tricky one, and I just think for me the big question here is where is Joshua at? Almost 35 years old. Kind of he still needs to have kind of the hunger and the desire to do that. Would he take Daniel Dubois likely? I'm not sure. I don't know. I think that with Dubois, um, I would worry about him if it got to kind of round 8, 9, 10 with Joshua. That would be kind of my worry. So I would edge towards a Joshua stoppage in the rounds 8 to 10. But we'll see. It's a tricky one, isn't it? So we're going to disagree, but we're going to return to this one when the fight kind of does get announced. I want to see it now because you've hyped me up for it now. So I really hope we see it. Will be the biggest night in British boxing this year to take place in Britain, and yeah, would be fantastic. Niall, thank you very much for your time, and I'll speak to you again very soon.
Thank you. Take care.